Hello, this is National Chess Master R. Rats at chess.com, continuing my video series on the team match between my video lessons group and Carpe Diem. This was played on board 97. Our man is LunyGuy versus danilopulgo. We have a rating advantage of high 1700s versus mid 1600s. And these particular games are more proof of how the internet has changed chess. People are getting exposed to chess on the internet, and they're not learning that you can look up. You should be reading books and learning in openings, and even within today's modern age, you can use databases to play your way through openings. Because White has all these tools at his disposal, yet he plays into very bad variations in both games. Had he picked up a chess book or two and even looked for an online database, he would have fared much better in these games. That doesn't guarantee he's going to win, but he wouldn't have the disasters that befall him. Let's have a look and see. Okay, so far, it's the Slav defense, and this is the first key point. And I had a game already that I posted in this series where White needs to play a4, because if he doesn't, this is one of those positions where Black can just hang on to the pawn. And instead, White plays e3, and now Black naturally responds with b5. And even though there's still some theory on this, it's a Black game. Black is going to maintain a pawn ahead and eventually convert his extra pawn on the queen side. There's a lot of chess to be played, but theory says that Black does fine here. And White's next move, it may be booked, but it's just a bad move, and it's one I've been talking about in this series. He plays a3. Now, keep in mind that White could have had one more piece developed the rest of the way, but White choosing to move his queenside pawns in this game is what proves his downfall. And like I say, I've talked about these rook pawn moves, and it serves no purpose. Black is not planning to play b5 and attack that knight. Why? Because that would loosen up the pawn on c4. Black's trying to hold on to that pawn. Okay? Is Black trying to put a knight on b5? Let's just back it up 1 second. Is he trying to put a knight on b5? No, it's 2 moves to get there, and he's got a lot of things to do in the meantime, like develop his pieces. Okay? Is he planning to put a bishop on b5? Maybe, but what's the big deal if he does? A3 is just a bad move, okay? These rook pawn moves in the opening, they're bad, and people keep playing them. And I'm hoping people watch my videos and stop playing these moves, because they're going to get you in trouble, okay? So, and again, as I say, keep in mind White could have one more piece developed than he does, but instead he embarks on what proves to be the fatal weakening of his position. He now plays b4. Now, this is bad, too, for a number of reasons. First off, it gives Black a protected pass pawn. Maybe he's hoping Black will take en passant, and if Black does, that develops the white queen, and the c6 pawn could become a potential target. Maybe that's what he's thinking, but there's no rule that says you have to take en passant. Now, this gives Black an immediate chance to try to capitalize on White's now weakened pawn structure. Normally, I would say the best thing to do is complete your development before undertaking operations. But Black's able to strike right now because White's wasted 2 moves. And here it comes, a5, with an immediate threat. The threat is to take this pawn, and this pawn can't take back because it's pinned. White needs to develop his bishop. Well, he can't. He's going to drop a pawn. So basically, White is would be forced to take this pawn. And now the a3 pawn becomes a liability. Remember, there used to be a pawn protecting it on b2. Well, that pawn doesn't exist anymore. The a file is opening up. There's going to be a lot of pressure on that pawn. So White is oblivious to what the dangers are, and I guess he thought he saw something, and he just didn't analyze it. Probably has too many games going, gets his moves, plays a move, and then gets his surprise a few days later, or however soon after, that his opponent replies. So obviously can't take Black takes. Obviously White can't retake because of the pin. But here's White's trick. He's going to play knight takes, and Black gets his queen out of danger, and now black has an attack on 2 knights. So white eliminates both of those threats in one move, but it fails to a simple tactic. Pause the video. Okay, you've resumed it. Did you find black's winning move? Bishop takes b4, and the pin is still there. Black has won a piece and now has a winning game. And unfortunately, there's not really much left to comment on. I'll just kind of run through the moves here. White tries to attack a few things here and there, but black has no worry. He completes his development. Easy winnable position. Just watch the one movers, and black will win this with ease. And black's just going to start liquidating pieces, and there's nothing white can do about it. Now he's piling up on a3 and offers more exchanges. Thank you very much. There goes that pawn. Now he's got 2 protected passed pawns that are going to run. Why are they going to run? Because white weakened these pawns by moving them. They'd still be there if white hadn't played a3. See what's wrong with these moves, a3? And of course it took a b4 move also, but I'm trying to impress on folks, don't move your rook pawns. You don't need to. Black's not playing to put a bishop and knight there. Urgh. Oh, it's so frustrating seeing these things come up so much. Okay. Anyway, simple threat dealt with. More pieces come off. More pieces come off. And here go the pawns. Here it goes. And let's get this one going. And white blockades it, but unfortunately, he weakens his king position. And then black finds a little combination to end the game. And now he makes a queen. White looks, oh boy, look, I get to check. But black has calculated it out, retreats his bishop, and white has absolutely no checks that are safe. Well, he has 3 checks, but he's going to lose his queen on each one. So he retreats his queen, or advances his queen, and here comes a check, and it's mate next move. So white resigned. After g3, take your pick. Which mate would you pick? I don't know, the d2 one looks better because it's a little farther away. Anyway, well played by LunyGuy. And let's go on to the next one because it's even a little more shocking than this one. Well, maybe not. I'll let you decide. Let's flip the board. Who knows what it's always fun to see when I load a game. It should load it on move 1. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it puts it on move 10 or something. Oh, look at that. I don't know why it does that. Hopefully they fix it in version 3. Okay, so black commits another error here by playing an inferior opening. And I have a lot of students that have actually played this next move of black's, okay? Let's talk about this. If you're new to chess, this is an opening you might be playing as black. You're going to run into it. Now, they were analyzing this back before the Civil War, back in Paul Morphy's days. And they were analyzing it all through the 1800s, and you know what? They haven't stopped. And the 2 most common moves are bishop c5 and knight f6. But what happens sometimes, these players who play knight f6, they run into this knight g5. They just don't know how to handle it. Now, what I can show you is beyond the scope of this. There's a lot of moves. There's the Traxler variation where black plays a crazy counter gambit. There's the d5 move, and after pawn takes, there's some main lines here. There's the Fritz variation. There's the knight a5 variation. It's got a name. I don't remember what it is. Maybe it's Chigorin. I don't know. There's also the knight takes d5, and then white has a choice between what they call the lolly or the Rio variation or the fried liver. Anyway, white sacrifices his knight, and I've actually seen this happen in games, and black doesn't understand that he can actually survive with king e6, but who wants to put their king out on the 3rd rank? Well, a few of us. So what they do is they meekly put their king back here. White regains the piece, is a pawn ahead, and threatening mate, and white usually wins this from this position. So they run into this, and that's one of the reasons why people are moving rook pawns, because they just can't deal with these knights and going to g5 and planting that fork. Okay, so they've there's no book printed by any leading authority that recommends you move your rook pawns to keep bishops and knights out of these squares. There is none. Okay, so it has to be an internet created defense that people adopted on their own, because they don't know to look at books. Well, I'm here to educate you before things change too drastically. Okay, I'm trying. It's an uphill climb because people are still playing it. I have some students, two kids and their dad. I work with all three of them every week. They're rated around 1,100, 1,200, and they're getting there. They're working their way up. But invariably, everybody they play, or not everybody, but most everybody they play will very early push their rook pawns up. And what do they teach them to do? Break the position open. Anyway, end of aggression. Black also has one other adequate move, and that's bishop e7. This is the Hungarian defense. What does this do? Well, it stops knight g5, and it develops a piece. And I have a video on it. It's in my video blogs. Just look for my blogs in my profile. You'll find it. It's a great defense that doesn't require all the massive preparation that moves like bishop c5 or knight f6 do. You don't have much to study at all. If you want to learn something quick, I'm your man. Hungarian defense. That's your move. Instead, what black plays is h6. It's just bad move for so many reasons, and it's been illustrated in so many of these games. It weakens the g6 square. It doesn't develop a piece. So what I tell my students when they play these moves is break the position open, because something good's bound to happen. Okay? Now black plays another bad move. Black should develop something, even if he has to play passively with d6 and bishop e7 and knight f6, whatever it takes. Because knight f6 could get risky at some point. e5 may be coming in, and white could afford to sacrifice a pawn just to have play on this open e file with the black king caught in the center. I mean, all kinds of possibilities. So black needs to develop something. Even bishop c5, that has a threat. Okay, that's threatening to take a knight. So what does black do? He moves a piece that's already been moved. Yeah, it comes with a tempo, but now this knight's a target. He wasn't a target on c6. You see the difference? So black develops a piece, and white goes and attacks the target. And black thinks he finds a combination, but it's going to backfire on him. Here it comes. Okay, he looks at this to say, great, if pawn takes, I'm going to play queen check. Well, white does it a little differently. White throws queen e2 at him. Here comes the check. He blocks it. And this is a thematic trick. But it comes at the price of a piece. First off, white now gets the knight with check. That's a big difference. Now what black needs to do is play king d8, and he's lost castling privileges. White's got a nice development advantage, even though he's sacrificed. White's up a piece. Can play knight f3 and chase the queen out. Black's just in trouble here. Anyway, he plays a natural bishop e7. Now white retreats the knight, and now white gets a fork. Is attacking the rook, is attacking the knight. So black pretty much has no choice but to take this. And now white just simplifies nicely. White needs to take that, right? Now black has one legal move. Now white gets the queens off the board. And lo and behold, white has all four of his minor pieces and black has but three. And to compound matters, even though black has some pawns for that minor piece, look at that knight on h1. How does he get out? The answer is he doesn't. That knight's trapped. So black's going to be playing down another piece. He valiantly plays on a few moves, but white just develops his pieces, and that knight's no closer to getting out. And he attacks another piece, but white just grabs another pawn, and black takes on h2, and white takes on h1. White's up a bishop and a knight. Black has two pawns, compensation for it, but they're not going to last. That h-pawn's falling next move, I would think. And then the e-pawn is right behind it, and white will win. So, the resources there when you play correspondence chess to look up the opening. Why would you not want to take advantage of a perfect way to learn how to play the openings? It's what my video lesson 001 talks about. Play correspondence chess, look up the opening as you go. Get to learn it when it counts. But so many players aren't doing this because nobody taught them to. Well, I'm teaching you. Well, I'm not saying nobody taught you to. People just aren't aren't using the resources. They're sitting there playing on the two-dimensional board and learning chess that way. And you got to use the resources. All right. Thanks so much for your time. Take care.